G'day everyone, Buck up in a beautiful far north Queensland on a sunny Saturday. Grand final day for the Aussie rules. Up the Lions, see how they go. By the time you see this, we'll know the result. The reason I'm doing this clip today is because we have blue sky and sun, and this is one I've wanted to do for a while now. I'm going to test out my solar panels and put them to the test and see which one performs the best. I've got 4 solar panels. I'll run you through them now. Three of the 4 of them were given to me, everyone, and I'm talking a long time ago for some of them. The first one I got was this one. When I was doing some stuff for Super Cheap Auto and they wanted me to promote the Ridge Ryder and test out the Ridge Ryder gear. Ridge Ryder, as you know, is one of the brands that's at Super Cheap Auto, and they had these 120 watt folding solar blanket. And I tell you what, that must be 5 or 6 years ago that I got these from Super Cheap Auto that they were given to me. And I tell you what, they are still going. They're still going well. They came with a regulator. I don't use the regulator because I'm going to be going through the Jackery and a iTech World solar regulator on the battery box. Show you that soon. I don't need anything regulated. So the 120 watt solar blanket, the Ridge Ryder from Super Cheap Auto, had it for many, many years now, and it's still going really well. So what we're going to do is see how many watts they put into the Jackery and how many amps they put into the battery box. So 120 watts with a solar panel. If something's 120 watts and you get a beautiful day like today with perfect conditions, you want to hope it gets close to 120 watts of power out of it. If you get a 200 watt solar panel, you only get 60 watts out of it on a really beautiful day with the sun beating down, then you know it's not a good solar panel. So that's why I want to test these today. The 120 watt Ridge Ryder, these just, a little bit of weight to them, they're not light, a little bit of weight to them, but they fold down so compact, don't they? Every solar panel's got pros and cons, guys. This one here, I guess you can't angle it towards the sun as easy as some of the other ones, but you can put it on the windscreen of your car. Got a lot of pros for the solar blankets. They're a fantastic item. You can get up to 300 watt solar blankets with different brands and that. But anyway, this is the 120 watt Ridge Ryder. Now, the next one that was given to me, and this I've had these for a few years now, is the Kickass, the folding Kickass 200 watt ultra thin solar panels. They've got like a, I don't know what it's called, is it a raptor skin or something on there? I love the texture of these solar panels. They're not like a glass front, so if a bit of hail or something hits them, they're not going to break by the looks of them. Kickass, we all know Kickass are a great brand, aren't they? So these are a folding solar panel. There's four to them, so 50 watts a panel. So there's 4 panels, gives us 200 watts. And there's a bit of weight to those as well. They came with a bag. The bag's over there, I just didn't bother putting them in there. So anyway, we're going to put the Kickass 200 watt solar panels to the test, which were provided to me. I've had them for a few years now too, just quietly. The next one, so 200 watts, 120 watts with the Ridge Ryder. This one here was given to me as well, along with the Jackery solar generator. Now let me tell you, you need a lot more than 100 watts of solar to keep that thing charged up, let me tell you. So the more lithium you have, the bigger your solar panels have got to be. It's just the way it is. Anyway, these Jackery, they're a 100 watt solar panel, very portable, quite light, got a nice, that Raptor lining or whatever it's called, don't quote me on what it's actually called, the Solar Saga 100. Output 100 watt 20 volts, so that's the Jackery that come with. One thing I do like about this, got a nice link and nice Velcro folding legs, really easy to set up. So we're going to see if we can get close to 100 watts out of this when we set it up. Thanks to Jackery for that. They are super thin and they fit perfectly in the BT50 down by the angle fridge. So I'll just throw them in. They're just great to put in there. And I was in Kings the other day, up in Cairns, everyone, and I saw these, the Kings 200 watt solar panels, and I actually purchased these, okay, they weren't given to me, I purchased these. So you'll see them when they're pulled out soon. It's got like a, I don't know if that's a glass or whatever, but they're a dual fold 200 watt solar panels, and they are definitely lighter than the Kickass ones. They are bigger in size, but there's only 2 panels there, okay? Work this out, $199 for the solar panels. Just to buy the solar panels by themselves, $199. But if you buy this really good canvas bag that it comes with, and a 6 metre cable that's already Anderson plugged up, $153. So it was $199 for the solar panels, or you could buy the solar panels, the really good canvas bag, and the lead for $153. So when you go into Adventure Kings, look for the bundle deals, because you'll get stuff a lot cheaper and you get more of it. So, and I thought, you know, $153 or $159, whatever it was, for a 200 watt solar panel, a really good quality canvas bag, and a 6 metre lead for $150 something. Oh bugger it, I'm just going to grab it and see how it goes, because I want to test it out. And it'll be a good test against the Kickass one. As we know, Kickass are a good brand. We'll see how the Kings go. Right, so what am I going to plug them into? Well, I want to be able to test wattage and also amps. So what I've got here is, over here I've got the Jackery 2000 Pro. What I've done is run it down to about 30 something percent. So with lithium, you don't want them, I don't want to do this experiment when the lithium battery is almost full, because it'll just go into absorption mode. Then I want it to do bulk charge. So with lithiums, they'll put bulk charge in up to about 80%, then they go down a bit and then they just absorb, and then they go to a float charge after that and just trickle charge as required. So I've worked that down to 30%, so that when I put the solar panel in, it'll accept maximum power out of the solar panel. And I've done the same thing with the iTech battery box there. It's even beeping, it's that low. I've got the alarm set, it's beeping, and I'm going to plug the solar panels in through an iTech World 30 amp solar controller, okay, and that will tell me how many amps. So what I'm going to do is plug it into the Jackery. That'll tell us how many watts we're getting out of the solar panel. So if it's a 200 watt solar panel on a really good day, we should be getting close to 200 watts. And then I'll unplug it from there, plug it into the battery box, and it'll tell us how many amps are going in. So you can compare it there. Some people don't work in watts, some people like to work in amps. So I'll give you both wattage coming out and also how much amps are going into the battery. Going to try and do it. I'm going to set them up out there close to each other, use the same cable, a 5 metre cable, use the same cable. I'm going to try and test them in the exact same conditions. I'm not going to test one now and then test another one in 3 hours time. I want to do them all at the same time, so it's a fair comparison. So anyway, I'll get into it. I'll stop talking. Obviously the 200 watt solar panels are going to put in more power than what the 120 and the 100 are. That's just the way it is. So I'm not trying to compare a 100 watt Jackery against a 200 watt Kickass or a 200 watt Kings. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to see how they perform and how close to the 100 or the 120 or the 200 I get out of the solar panels. And that'll let me make my decision on, you know, the size of the solar panel. Maybe it'd be beneficial, rather than taking one big 200 watt, if I'm getting 10 amps out of a big one like this, but I can take the 2 small ones and get 12 or 13 amps, maybe it's better for me to take the 2 smaller solar panels and put them both in, because I've got a double Anderson plug, so I can put more than one solar panel in at the same time. So, but I'm just going to do one at a time for now. That's why I'm doing this experiment. I'm going to go before this is Innisfail. Remember, it could be raining in 10 minutes, but I've got beautiful blue sky, bright sunshine. Let's get into this experiment. I'm interested to see how this goes. So here's the Jackery, guys. I'll turn that on. Oh, I'll tell you what I've got to do. I've got to put the lead at the back with the Anderson plug on. Do that. 37% on the Jackery. And this one here is very low, guys. I've run the iTech World battery box down. She's down to 33, but 11.5 volts. So what I do is I'll be plugging the solar panel straight into the solar controller, and it'll tell me in amps how many amps are going into the battery, okay? Right, let's get into it. So I'm going to put the solar panels in the same spot so they get the same sun. Going to try and be fair and do a really fair comparison. So this is how quick and easy the Jackeries are to set up. Pull two little Velcro legs out, angle into the sun, unzip the little pouch at the back. So this is going to be unregulated, everyone. So I just pull out my Anderson plug. I've Anderson plugged this up. Anderson plug in. Okay, let's go in, plug it into the Jackery, see how many watts we get out of it, and then plug it into the iTech World battery box, see how many amps we get out of it. Rightio, so here we go. Plug the Anderson plug into the Jackery. Turn this around a bit so you can see a bit better. Takes a little while to start up. And let's see how much input. Now, remember the Jackery's 100 watt solar panel. It's almost perfect conditions at the moment. Let's see how close to 100 watts we can get out of the Jackery. One thing I don't like about the Jackery is the really thin wiring in it. I think the wiring in the Jackery solar panel could be a lot thicker. I know it's not pushing a lot of amps through there, but it's pissy thin wiring. I'd like to see some thicker wiring. So at the moment, we can see that the yellow circle's going around in the Jackery, which means it is charging. Those solar panels are charging the Jackery. And 76 watts. I must admit, I've had higher 80s out of the Jackery before, so I don't know, maybe it's not perfect conditions. 75. They're in full sun, but guys, they're in full sun. 78, 79. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, not even that. 78, 79. All right, we're going to go with 79 watts. 79 watts coming out of the Jackery. What I'm going to do now is plug it into the iTech World solar controller and see how many amps are coming out of it. Okay, so 79 watts, we're going to call it there. I have seen it do better than that. Maybe when the sun gets a little bit further in the west and it gets it even better. It's only about bloody 1:30 in the afternoon. So we're going to go 79 watts with the Jackery. I'm calling it there. Nah, that's right. If I read it on an angle, it's glary and I can't see it. If I stand on my tiptoes, I can see it. So 6.6. The sun's still hitting there. There's no clouds at the moment. .6 amps going in, guys. 6.6. I'm going to write this down. So the Jackery had 79 and 6.6. Okay, so we're going to call it there. The Jackery, 79 watts and 6.6 amps. Yeah, 6.6 amps. Rightio. Let's move on to the next solar panel. Righto, next one's a little Ridge Rider, 120 amp. 120 amp, 120 watt, 120 amp, wishful thinking. Righto. These are really good to fold out and you can put them on the windscreen of your car. Right. So this is unregulated, guys. I don't need it regulated because I'm running it through regulators. Let's plug her into plug the Anderson plug in here. That's getting full sun. Let's go and put him in the Jackery, eh? So here we go. In goes the 120 watt Ridge Rider solar blanket. Righto, let's see how this one goes. Takes a little while for the Jackery to pick up that something's plugged into it. Here we go. Red circle's going around, which means I've got power going into the Jackery from the blanket. When it started up, it was on 80. 74 watts at the moment, 74 watts, 73 watts. Yep, it's in full sunshine. The other thing too, I could probably experiment putting the blankets on an angle so it's getting the same angle sun as the thing, but I've just got them flat at the moment. 72. Sitting on 72 watts now, so not quite. Here we go. 73. 72, 73 watts. What did the Jackery do? So the 100 watts Jackeries, 73. I'm going to call it there 73 watts, guys. 73 watts out of the Ridge Riders. Righto, so unplug the Jackery and put the solar panel, the Ridge Rider, straight into the solar controller here on the battery box, the iTech World battery box. Just give that a little bit to crank in and see how many amps now. So the Jackery tells me in watts, this thing works in amps, so we get a bit of an idea of both. I know watts doesn't mean a lot to some people, amps does. 6.4. 6.3. Oh, cramping me calf from standing on me toes. I was cramping me calf. It's steady on 6.3. Still full sun on there. Still getting full sun. I'm going to call it there, guys. It's hovering between 6.2 and 6.3. So I'm going to call it 6.3 amps out of the Ridge Rider 120s. Rightio, so we still got full sun, no clouds. Been waiting for a day like this for ages. Right, the next one's the Kickass 200 watters. So let's fold these out. Right way. Yeah. If you put your solar panels the correct way, like facing the sun, you actually get more power out of them. How about that? What a diddly donk. Did Rafa just crack one off? Because I just got a horrible smell just then and he's scratching. I don't know if he's cracked one off in the background. Let me know in the comments section. Oh, he must have. I can smell it. He's got no shame, that dog. A lot of straps and that on this panel. That's what I don't like about it, all the straps and that. This one here shortens up all the time. Alright, so there we go. Let's plug him in now. This Kickass panel has got a 20 amp regulator on the back, guys. So the good thing about Kickass, all Anderson plugged up the back. If you need regulated power, this has a regulator on the back, and you just put the Anderson plug into the regulator on the Anderson plug on the regulator. This one I'm just going straight into the solar panel. You cannot regulate twice. You don't go from the regulator on a solar panel and then regulate it again on your Jackery, or it won't work. Cancel each other out, okay? So this is going to go unregulated because I've got the regulators over there. Righto. Straight into the solar panel. Righto, let's go and see what this one does. Right, let's hook him up to the Jackery. This is the Kickass 200 watters in almost perfect conditions. Nice hot day, no clouds, full sun. Let's see how the Kickass go. As I said, it takes the Jackery a little while to start accepting the Here we go. It's powering now. I've got power going in, the red circle's going around. If you're wondering what this is on the, I heard a sunspot frozen off the other day off my eye, guys. If you're wondering what that thing on my eye is, I can feel it. I can almost see it out of the corner of my eye. Anyway, it'll fall off in a few days. Yet more skin cancers. I've seen it do better than this, I must admit. The sun is hitting that solar panel full on, guys. It's not the full on west, it's not hitting it on a 45 or anything, but it's not straight overhead either. It is slightly to the west of the sun, and that's getting full sun. They're all getting the same amount of sun. I'm putting them in the same spot using the same cable, so it's a fair comparison. That was 122 before. Remember, and this is a 200 watt solar panel. The Kickass are 200 watts, so on perfect conditions you'd expect it gets close to 200 watts. It's not doing that at the moment. It's 117. It's dropped down a bit. There's certainly no shadow over the thing. There's no clouds over the sun. It is still full blue sky, full sun. It's like getting close to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 117. I've seen it do better than that. I've seen it getting 140s before, but that's a bit disappointing. 117. Out of the Kickass, 117. It's sitting on 117. So it's only just over half. It's only getting, you'd expect it to be going closer to 200 than 100. It's 117. That turns off after a while just to save power. 116 now, it's not going up. 115. 117. Full sun for the Kickass. 5 metre cable, 5 metre length of cable if I didn't mention that. And that is a Kickass solar cable as well, Anderson plug both ends. I'm using a 5 metre, so I'm not using 10 or 15 metres, so I lose voltage and all that. It's a 5 metre cable, which is what most solar panels come with. Down to 111 now. I'm going to call it at 115. Was it 115 at one stage there? It's now down to 111. I'll give it 115, 112. We'll say 115, eh? Righto, let's see how many amps she does. Rightio, out of the Jackery and into the solar control, the iTech World solar controller, which is sitting on top here. Rightio. $10 amps on the dot. .0 amps, so 10 amps on the dot. I think the best I've seen out of it is about 11 amps. I think I've seen it crack 11 once before, the Kickass panels. That is 10.0 and it's staying on 10.0. 9.9 now, so I'm going to call it 10 amps on the Kickass, which is about average for, I think, 200 watt solar panels. Yeah, 9.9, 10. It's 10.0, it's staying on 10.0, so that's what I'm calling it at. Righto, on to our last one, which is the old Kings one. Right, so the next one is the Kings 200 watters, and they come in a great bag, guys. They sell these bags separate. This bag is way better than the Kickass bag that the Kickass ones come from. So next time I'm in Kings, I'm buying another one of these canvas bags, because this also fits the Kickass solar panels quite well. Very, very good. Tell you now, I've been a big bagger of Kings in the past. They're up in their game, guys, they really are. Righto, let's sort these out. Put him out. In there. And I tell you what, that is easier to set up as well. The Kings panels come unregulated. You can buy Kings solar controllers, MPPT solar controllers to go with it if you need regulated power. They're an optional extra, but the solar panels by themselves are unregulated. So I'll just plug them straight into, already Anderson plugged up again. Kings are now using Anderson plugs, which is fantastic. That's the way to go. It's their own brand, but it's still an Anderson plug at the end of the day. So there you go, it's in the same spot as the Kickass and the other ones was. It's lighter, it's bigger, in some ways, but it's not as long when you set it up. It's only got two 100 watt panels, whereas the Kickass seems to have 450s. This is definitely lighter and easier to set up, I must say. I've only tried using this once, guys. This is the second time I've put it out, to tell you. I only got it about a week and a half ago. Right, let's go in and see what this thing can do, eh? This is so this will be a good comparison against the Kickass, okay? This is 200 watts as well. So this is the Kings. Let's plug him in. Plugged in. Let's give the Jackery a little bit to get up and running. Takes about 20 seconds or so. The Jackery, now she goes. She's going. It's going around. Started off on 170 there, but it's dropped down straight away. 168. Let's give it a few more seconds. Geez, I tell you what, it's hot. It's starting to warm up. End of September, summer's not far away. She's warming up. 163. She's in full sun, same as the Kickass was. 162. That started, it was 180 when it first started. It's dropped down a bit now. They all seem to be a bit higher when you first put them in, and then they drop down. So we'll let it stabilise and see what it does. 160. 160 watts. It was 162 there for a while. Another 10 seconds, eh? Looks like it's stabilised on 160. Just remember, certain parts of the day, I could do this in an hour's time. I might get better out of this. I was getting 180s out of this the other day when I did it. I was getting 180 something watts, but it was later in the afternoon when the western sun was down a bit more. Maybe I was getting more direct sunlight onto the solar panel, but hey, this has all been done at the same time, so it's apples versus apples type thing, not apples versus oranges, guys. 165, 167. So it's not like I've tested this one at 12 and then the Kickass at 3 in the afternoon. They're all at the same time, all in the same spot, all with the same cable. It's as fair as I can make it. Right, let's... 165, I'm going to call it on that. The Kings, 165 watts. I'm not even going to show you on the camera. I'm flat out seeing that with my own eyes. It gets so glary, guys. Just trust me. 13.5 amps. Yep, 13.5. All right, let's write those down. Rightio, so let's go through the figures. This I've written on the back of me Velcro here with some pencil. Now, listen, if I did this in an hour's time, the sun might be in a better angle. I might get better results. I must admit, I've got better results, certainly got better results out of the Kickass before at different times of the day. And the first time I used the Kings, I got 180s out of that. It's down to 165. So maybe the sun, instead of being on a 45, you know, mid-afternoon out in the west, it's not straight overhead, but they're all done at the same time, so it was a fair comparison. So the 100 watt Jackeries, guys, 79 watts. I have seen the Jackery pump 90. I've seen Jackery get up to 90 before, but today the Jackery was 79 and 6.6 amps. Oh, that's acceptable, I think. Make sure you put a comment down. I'm no bloody expert on all this type of stuff. Let me know what you reckon of these results in the thing. So the 100 watt Jackery, 79 watts and 6.6 amps. Does 79 watts equate to 6.6 amps? Maybe Simon from Lock Your Hubs can work that out. But as I said, I unplug it from the Jackery and then straight in at the same time. So hopefully 79 watts and 6.6 amps are very much the same. Righto, the Ridge Rider, the little Ridge Riders, 73, well, they're 120 watts by the way, 73 watts and 6.3 amps. So a higher wattage capacity on the Ridge Riders, but I didn't get as good a results as the Jackery. Now, I had them flat on the ground. Maybe if I put them on the windscreen of my car on a 45-degree angle facing the sun, I would have got a lot better than that. And that's how I normally use those. I put them on the windscreen of the car, run the cable down to the iTech World battery box in the back of the BT and charge my dual battery that way. Maybe they get better being on a 45. That was probably the only unfair thing about the Ridge Riders, is that I had them laying flat. I didn't have them on a 45-degree angle, but that's the way they are. Unless you've got a 45-degree flat surface like a windscreen of a car, that's how you've got to hang them up or just lay them flat on the ground. So, but that's how most people do it, lay them flat on the ground. Maybe if I did it right at midday when the sun was right overhead, I've no doubt those Ridge Riders would have pumped out more than what they did there. But the sun was on a bit of an angle there, so maybe a little bit unfair on the Ridge Riders now that I think about it, but it is what it is. Right, the Kickass, 200 watt Kickasses, 115 watts out of there. They should have done better than that. They should be pumping out, 200 watt solar panels should be pumping out more than 115 watts on a good day like today. Like it's no clouds, it's bloody full sunshine, it's hot. I had full sun hitting those panels, guys, 115 watts. I've seen it do better than that, I must admit. I've seen it do 140s. I've never seen the Kickasses up around 200, but I must admit, I've never seen it up anywhere near there. And I was getting 10 amps on the dot out of the Kickass, the 200 watt Kickass. I was getting 10 amps and 115 watts out of the Kickass. The Adventure Kings, the old filthy Kings solar panels, 165 watts, and they went up literally a couple of minutes after the Kickass at the same time of the day on the same angle, the same cable. 165 out of the Kings and 13.5 amps. So it's 3.5 amps better than the Kickass and bloody 50 watts better. So there you go, guys. Snorky, Clayton, if you're watching, that's as fair as I'm trying to be, as fair as I can be, guys. Those King solar panels just shit all over the Kickass ones. Don't ask me about longevity and all that type of stuff, guys. I bought the Kings ones with my own money. They weren't given to me. I'm not getting paid to say this. I bought them with my own money. I'm just calling it how it is, guys. There, I just did the figures. The Adventure Kings 200 watt solar panels outperform the Kickass ones by a fair way. And the little Jackery and the Ridge Rider. Now, I've got this thing in my hand here. It's a double adapter. 1 Anderson to 2 Anderson. So I've got the capability. You can even get a bloody one with 3 on it, I think. I can put 2 solar panels in there. So if I'm out in the caravan and I want to run remote solar panels and charge my lithium batteries up in the caravan or the camper trailer, whatever it may be, I can take my 2 small solar panels out. I can take the Jackery and the little Ridge Riders. They don't take up much room. And if I put them both together through this plug here, 6.6 and 6.3 is 12.9. So I can get going on these figures, I get 12.9 amps going into my batteries. Which is, so the 2 small ones, I could get more amps. I can get, 140, 152. So if I join them 2, I can get 152 watts out of those 2 little solar panels and 12.9 amps. Rather than take the big Kickass solar panels, I can take the 2 small ones and get more power into my battery. So there you go. And I'll tell you now, the Jackery and the solar blanket tuck away nicely and don't take up as much room as what the Kickass panels do. And I can get more wattage and more amps into my battery. If I took the 2 big fellas, if I wanted to take the Kings and the Kickass, I can get 270, 280 watts. If I joined them together, 280 watts, I could get out of those 2 solar panels, and I could get 23.5 amps pumping into my batteries if I use them. So if I want to, I can take the Jackery and the Kings, and there I could be getting 20.1, just over 20 amps if I take the little Jackery solar panels, which slide in and take up no room whatsoever beside my angle fridge. If I take them and the Kings I can get over 20 amps. I know I can get 20 amps pumping into my battery. So there you go, everyone. Put something down in the comments. I don't like to say this because Kickass has been good to me, but the Kickass solar panels underperformed. If you ask me, let me know what you think. I think the Kickass underperformed for a 200 watt solar panel. I don't like to say that because Clayton was very generous and gave them to me, and they've been good panels. I've used them heaps, and they've been very, very, very good. But on today's things, the cheaper, easier to set up and that, Adventure King's panels outperform them. I'm just calling it as I see it. I'm not trying to bloody put anyone down here or give anyone a plug over anyone else. I'm just trying to be as fair as I can. There's the figures, everyone. Let me know what you reckon in the comments, eh? Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to put the Kickass panels out and the Adventure King's panels, which are already out there now. These batteries, these are quite low at the moment, so I'm going to start pumping some juice into them and get them back up to 100%. I purposely ran them down so that I could get maximum power out of the solar panel so that they wouldn't regulate it down type thing. So it was bulk charge going into both, and that's the results there. So what I'm going to do now, put that one in and put the Kickass solar panels out, and I should be getting 23.5 amps going into my battery box, and once that's full I'll then start charging the Jackery up. Righto guys, be good to each other. Let me know what you reckon of that experiment. Yeah, it's just food for thought, isn't it? Gives me something to think about now. Maybe it's better to put the two small ones in than one of the big ones. Something to think about. Put a comment down. Like and subscribe if you like this type of content. I've got more. I'm trying to think outside the box and just put heaps of shit up that I think people might find interesting. See you later, eh? Take care. Be good to each other. And I'm not into the Aussie Rules, but the Aussie Rules Grand Finals on now. I might go in and see how the Brisbane Lions go. They lost last year. I hope they win this year. See you later. I know I've already said goodbye, but 21.8. So I've got the two 200s out. I've got the Kickass and the Kings out. So I've got 400 watts of power out there at the moment. And I said I should be getting about 21.5 if I join them both together. 21.8, there you go. Oh, spot on. So those figures do think so. At the moment I've got over 20 amps pumping into this battery now. It's going all right. I'll let it sit there all afternoon and charge this 120 amp hour battery up in there. Righto, I am going this time. See you.